Yoel, the Pilgrims, Yuria from Londor, the location of Londor itself, Hollows versus Unkindled, the Knight Anri of Astora, the Ruins of Astora, and the Usurp the Fire ending. These topics are all just as deep and compelling as much as they are ambiguous and vague, but understanding this strict series of side quests is key to understanding a lot about the game. I will go in depth on everything I just mentioned and delve deep into the mysterious secret ending called Usurp the Fire. So embark with me on this quest for truth. Needless to say, this truth contains massive spoilers, so watch at your own discretion. The Pilgrims are ancient hollows ravaged with the undead curse brought about by Gwyn's sacrifice to link the flame thousands upon thousands of years ago. In hearing about the fading fire, the Pilgrims of Londor traveled north to Lothric. The fire is linked to their curse, and as it fades, so do their lives. So, in a haste, they travel to carry out their own ritual in order to embrace and harness the dark sign Gwyn created in a plunder. Unfortunately, many die before reaching their destination and goal. A bell over the Firelink kiln chimes when the fire starts to fade, ushering in a movement to protect the flame. Symbolic of the sun, the flame governs all life and creation, even that of lords and gods. Without it, there'd be nothing but darkness. Hearing the chime of the bell, previous lords who linked the first flame rise from their graves, and undead unkindled rise from the ash, all reborn. As the lords refute their thrones in an act of self-preservation, given life anew, it is the unkindled's ritualistic duty to forcefully place the lords within the shrine to link the first flame, ushering in a new era. As Gwyn has and as you have at the end of the first Dark Souls in the canonical ending. Though what ending is truly canonical is still highly speculative, but given the fact that lords such as the Nameless King, whom is the son of Gwyn, are still bound to the physical world, the fact that there are returning characters and locations, the fact that the souls of the lords explicitly says the flame has been linked ever since Gwyn's initial linking, it's pretty safe to say, after Gwyn, there hasn't been an Age of Dark. According to Dark Souls 3, this would truly be an Age of Dark. There would be nothing. No matter. No consciousness. Until one day, tiny flames will dance across the darkness and create a Big Bang effect, starting life anew. And what landscapes, creatures, or maybe even gods that manifest will be drastically different. The Usurp the Fire ending, among all the other dialogue we'll soon analyze, will make it all much more clear. Yoel is the last survivor of the pilgrimage and can be rescued. It seems many pilgrims hit a dead end at this collapsed bridge and died. On further investigation, you can hear Yoel cry out in defeat.
Please, grant me death. Undo my shackles.
Yoel wants out of his misery, but upon realizing who you truly are, his hope and purpose is revitalized.
Oh, then it's true. A champion of Ash as I live and breathe. To be in your presence is a great honor. I am Yoel of Londor, a pilgrim as you can see, only somehow I failed to die as was ordained.
Just one look at you and he regards you in high honor, which is unusual because to other people you're just another unkindled, ashen, or worthless undead. And in the intro,
nameless, accursed undead, unfit even to be cinder.
This is similar to how you're treated in the first game, so it is a bit unusual for him to be so excited to see you. Yes, your purpose is grand, but there are many others like you, doing the same thing as you.
Well, perhaps my calling lies elsewhere. Say, champion of Ash, how does the idea of taking me into your service strike you? I was once a sorcerer. Surely I can be of use.
If you decline his offer...
Yes, of course. A cursed pilgrim has no place in your honorable service. But if a lost soul should encounter a legend such as you, could that be anything but a movement of fate? I will remain in this spot, praying solemnly that you might have a change of heart.
He goes on to call you an honorable legend, and even pulls both the fate and pity cards, making it very clear he will stay and wait for you. This is a subtle form of manipulation and hopes to get you to reconsider, as he has great plans for you. Talk to him again, and he says,
"Ah, champion of Ash, have you had a change of heart? I beg of you, take me into your service."
Now he even starts pleading with you, making you wonder what makes you so important to him. Hey, just for sport, before accepting him into your service, we'll kill Yoel on the bridge to see what he says.
What's come over you? Killing undead for sport? Accursed champion?
Though, doing this will only void his entire side quest, so let's not do it and say we did. Either way, how can you not trust someone that sounds like an elderly Winnie the Pooh?
Oh, I am honored, truly. I should be dead, yet you have granted me purpose anew. I, Yoel of Londor, do solemnly swear myself to you.
When you return to the Firelink Shrine, he will be there.
Oh, our champion of Ash, welcome home. This pilgrim, with a debt in death, hardly deserves to behold this divine flame. And I never would have, had you not taken me into your service. I thank you dearly for this, and assure you of my leal service.
He says that last line in a very ominous way, and for good reason.
As I have said, I was once a sorcerer. Alas, the magic of Londor is a far cry from the wonders of Vinheim. But I can teach you what I know. Perhaps, more importantly, I believe that I can help tease out your true strength. We pilgrims of Londor are keenly aware that those branded by the dark sign possess something quite special.
He is a sorcerer, but he makes it very clear that that's not why he's there. He originally made it sound like he was going to teach you sorceries, but what spells he has are only good for starters. Orbeck of Vinheim is the real sorcerer, albeit a tad egotistical and demanding. What Yoel really wants to do is tease out your true strength, which is a clever rewording of aggravating your undead curse through free levels. Looking into the description of the dark sign, which is present in your inventory from your very birth, unkindled are hollows, yet they're not. Yet. Unkindled eventually turn hollow. The dark sign is the reason you are undying and able to respawn time and time again.
Then shall we begin? Bearer of the dark sign, let your true strength shine.
Drawing out your true strength puts dark sigils in your inventory every time you do it. Dark sigils are little gaping black holes in your flesh, allowing your humanity to slip out. It's by accumulating at least one of these dark sigils that you actually become hollow. So, each and every time you die, your curse worsens. I'm not saying unkindled aren't hollows. They are, but not entirely.
Yes, indeed. The dark sign brands the undead.
It's the dark sigils that complete it. In Dark Souls 1, we can assume these dark sigils were automatically a part of you, without having any presence in your inventory. Depending on your level of hollowing, you can continue to draw out your true strength, accrue sigils, and get free levels. I, as well as most people I'm sure, thought, I ain't gonna say no to free levels, completely unaware of the consequences. But there always seems to be a catch when NPCs offer you nice things in Dark Souls, and that's why we can't have nice things.
I would do anything for my master. Just say the word.
Luckily, hollowing doesn't do anything other than make you ugly as all hell past a certain level on the hollow meter. Also, past a certain level, your shadow disappears, but even when using an ember and purging stone, it doesn't come back. When sitting at a bonfire, it doesn't come back. When leaving to a new area, it doesn't come back. When leaving to a new area, what do you know, finally comes back. If this is a glitch, it's a weird glitch. If this is on purpose, it's a weird purpose. If your character is a female, hollowing doesn't affect your appearance until level 10. If your character is a male, hollowing doesn't affect your appearance until level 15. Gaining sigils really only affects the quests and alternate ending. Now, if you want, you can kill Yoel and feel nothing but bad for him in his dying moments. You do have to admit that sounded kind of funny.
Lady Yuria.
Don't kill him though. Don't you want to see this quest? He does bring up Yuria, and we will soon meet her. After you draw out your true strength 5 times and accumulate 5 dark sigils, in a meek yet concise manner, Yoel will call you a lord for the first time. Oh! His parting message goes from this,
Be safe, champion of Ash.
to this.
Be safe, our lord.
He doesn't sound as upbeat anymore, but still. Me? A lord? Oh, I've always wanted— Wait, what? That surely does bring up a lot of questions, but unfortunately, the next time you return, you will find his wishes were granted and had finally succumbed to death. Off to the side, Yuria of Londor takes his place, claiming to be a close friend, and gives you thanks in Yoel's stead.
Oh, prithee, art thou good Yoel's master? I am Yuria of Londor, a close friend of his. Thanks to thee, Yoel's soul is redeemed. Allow me to express my gratitude in his stead.
And it also seems Yoel was spreading rumors. Now that you have his 5 dark sigils, you're apparently a lord, I guess.
Another matter. That a lord art thou not? Bearer of the dark sigil, and our Lord of Hollows. For the time thou remainst our lord, we of Londor shall serve thee. And I, of course, am also thine.
It seems very apparent Yoel, Yuria, and the entirety of Londor wants to keep the curse alive and through you, one of the few remaining unkindled hollows bearing a gratitude of dark sigils. Hence why they are so quick to make you their lord, and will do whatever it takes to keep anyone from usurping you. As in the case with Orbeck of Vinheim. She mentions that he claims to be a lord of hollows.
Oh, good hollow. I'm afraid I must say, Orbeck of Vinheim is a cause of much consternation. He proclaimeth himself Lord of Hollows. If left alone, he may one day imperil thy rule. Fall to this matter yearly, else we are unravelled. Decisiveness is the mark of a true monarch.
Orbeck admits being undead, but that's it. Most people at this point would have no idea what they're lord of, what reign they are protecting, if they can even trust Yuria, whom they just met, and what the actual endgame of all this is. You can easily not kill Orbeck. Yuria won't mention him again, and he won't compromise your position. He may even just up and leave. But if you do kill Orbeck and bring his ashes to her, she says,
Ah, I see Orbeck's claim is proven false. As it should be our right and deserving Lord of Hollows. It is a Londor treasure befitting of a true lord. Lord of Hollows, may the dark sigil guide thy way.
From her dialogue, it seems to me that Yuria just wanted his ashes to claim all his deciphered sorceries for use in Londor, which, as Yoel said, is lacking in magic. I mean, could you really tell someone is hollow from their ashes? Yuria could be looking out for your potential reign as a Lord of Hollows, which I doubt in this specific case, or she could have lied. In purchasing the Londor Braille Divine Tome from her and having the spells deciphered through either Irina or Carla, you can get some insight into Londor and their magic. It seems the Tome of Dark Miracles was first spoken by Liliane and curses all things living. Liliane is the youngest of 3 sisters and also the founder of the Sable Church. Now we can gather that the Sable Church is in Londor and its members are all trained swordsmen that live by their swords and do not rely on magic. Magic is an aside, a secondary, or a last resort. Londor is known as the Hollow Realm, a society of undead corpses and shades of which led unsavory lives. Some were exiled and cast out of the Sable Church and given this miracle to atone for their sins. In bringing the ashes of Orbeck to Yuria, she'll give you the Morion Blade, which describes Londor's church as having 8 branching towers. So much lore on Londor, the Hollow Realm. I can almost guarantee this area will be in the upcoming DLC, past, present, or future. On another note, there was once a firekeeper that traversed the abyss and was able to make peace with the Dark Sigil. She came to terms with it, but it tainted her soul. She is now dead, located above the Firelink Shrine under the bell that alerted to the fading fire. You can take her soul and give it to your firekeeper to embed it into her bosom.
Ashen One, this is much like what lies within me. Then let it find its own place within my bosom. She will understand. We are both firekeepers after all.
Then you can use her to cure your Dark Sigil and hollowing at an insane cost, which contradicts the Dark Sigil item description that says that the Dark Sigil can never be healed, and when doing this, no Dark Sigils will be in your inventory and your curse will be lifted.
Forgive me, sister. May the flames guide thy way.
But if it hasn't happened already, Yoel will die, Yuria will no longer serve you.
Thus forsworn the Lord's mark. There is not more to say. Farewell, our fleeting lord.
Then disappear forever, and the rest of this expansive quest will die with him. There are many ways to end this questline prematurely, which comes to show how important it really is. Either way, there's no reason to cure your hollowing. It doesn't affect the gameplay in any way. I mean, if looking like an aged Steven Tyler or an emaciated Macaulay Culkin is a problem, there's ways around it. I don't know, like putting on a mask, wear some armor, boost that poise a little, or wear this damn ring. I mean, Christ! So, among your jolly travels through the Road of Sacrifices, you'll soon bump into Anri and good pal Horace at the Halfway Fortress bonfire. Interestingly, Anri is always the opposite gender of your character, with the same exact dialogue.
Oh, hello. How do you do? I'm Anri of Astora, unkindled like you. This is Horace, a friend and travelling companion. Are you too in search of the Lords of Cinder? We're well along the Road of Sacrifices. Below us is the Crucifixion Woods. Beyond the flooded woods lies Farron Keep, home of the Undead Legion. Further yet is the Cathedral of the Deep. We seek the Cathedral, home of the grim Aldrich. We may go our separate ways now, but we are both seekers of lords. The next time we cross paths, one may find the other in a time of need. May the flames guide your way.
Here's the female variation, who is voiced by Lucy Briggs Owen. She also voiced Fake Yosefka in Bloodborne, and she sounds just like her.
Oh, hello. How do you do? I am Anri of Astora, unkindled like you. This is Horace, a friend and travelling companion. Are you too in search of the Lords of Cinder? We are well along the Road of Sacrifices. Below us is the Crucifixion Woods. Beyond the flooded woods lies Farron Keep, home of the Undead Legion. Further yet is the Cathedral of the Deep. We seek the Cathedral, home of the grim Aldrich. We may go our separate ways now, but we are both seekers of lords. The next time we cross paths, one may find the other in a time of need. May the flames guide your way.
They are unkindled Lord Seekers, just like you, but more importantly, they seek Aldrich of the Deep. Their destination is to the cathedral coffin in which Aldrich writhed out of. Anri is from Astora and wears the same armor and nearly identical weaponry as the knight supposedly named Oscar. He's the very first NPC you meet in the first game who gives you the Estus Flask.
An Estus Flask, an undead favorite.
And, coincidentally, makes an homage in this game as the corpse you get the Ashen Flask from.
Oh, yes, Horace. He's not very talkative, but don't think ill of him. He is an upstanding, kind-hearted knight, a fine partner for this grueling journey. Without his help, I would have cursed this onerous duty long ago.
Oh yes, Horace. He's not very talkative, but don't think ill of him. He's an upstanding, kind-hearted knight, a fine partner for this grueling journey. Without his help, I would have cursed this onerous duty long ago.
In talking to Horace, he will grunt a few times and never speak, which is ironic because the Roman legend under the same name was a renowned lyric poet. Horace will give you the Blue Sentinel Covenant pledge. You can assume they are of this covenant, which is a righteous and formidable covenant that vows to protect the Way of Blue invaded by bloodlusting invaders. And when I say righteous, I mean that in the 80s slang. Like, righteous, dude! Excellent! Also, Knights from Astora are associated with the color blue, so it's possible both ancient covenants originated out of Astora, though since these covenants were first presented in Dark Souls 2, which was a reboot of sorts, that's speculation on my part. They will soon depart, but you will be able to summon them both for the Deacons of the Deep boss fight, which happens to be at the coffin made out for Aldrich. They always turn away from you when you face them, but it's nothing significant because a handful of other summons do this as well. As it turns out, Aldrich has departed, so Anri and Horace continue their quest to find him, but make a brief pit stop at the Firelink Shrine to plan their next route.
Oh, and we meet again. We spoke before on the Road of Sacrifices. Anri of Astora. I'm well pleased to see you safe. We reached the Cathedral of the Deep, but Aldrich's coffin was empty. The man-eater must have left for his true home. The little doll in the empty coffin told me.
Wait, the doll spoke to you? It never spoke to me. Hold on. Let me hold it up to my ear.
Wherever you go, Blue still sits in Irithyll. Wherever you may be, Irithyll is your home.
By God, that's some creepy shit.
Aldrich is said to hail from Irithyll in the Boreal Valley, an ancient fabled city. A pilgrim told me that the city lies beyond Farron Keep, and so becomes our destination.
Anri mentions being guided by a pilgrim, which is interesting because you were too. And here's the female variation for good measure.
Oh, and we meet again. We spoke before on the Road of Sacrifices. Anri of Astora. I'm well pleased to see you safe. We reached the Cathedral of the Deep, but Aldrich's coffin was empty. The man-eater must have left for his true home. The little doll in the empty coffin told me. Aldrich is said to hail from Irithyll in the Boreal Valley, an ancient fabled city. A pilgrim told me that the city lies beyond Farron Keep, and so becomes our destination.
So they plan to traverse through Farron Keep, defeat the Abyss Watchers, and scour the catacombs to reach Irithyll. Go talk to Yuria, and she'll have some compelling information for you that will make complete sense of the whole opposite gender thing.
Our lord and liege, knowest thou of a youth named Anri? He is hollow, and will join thee in wedlock.
Now you're arranging marriages for me?
A fellow of mine guides him at this moment. When the time is ripe, thou mayst make thy salutations. For what lord taketh no spouse?
You guys got my life all figured out, don't you? She also mentions Anri is a hollow, which means he or she too has dark sigils. Someone out there was able to get screenshots of Anri and Horace without their helmets on, and as you can see, indeed, Anri is hollow. Horace looks a lot more hollow than Anri, judging from how pale he is. This may also be why he doesn't speak, being on the verge of madness. Keep this in the back of your mind as we continue this quest. Yuria's dialogue does change depending on the gender of Anri.
Knowest thou of a maid named Anri?
Oh yeah, definitely.
She is hollow.
We're a lot alike then.
And will join thee in wedlock.
Oh.
A fellow of mine guides her at this moment.
She does mention a friend of hers as guiding Anri at the moment, and if you put two and two together, this is likely the pilgrim he or she mentioned. Yuria is friends with every goddamn pilgrim in this game, and it makes you question why. Regardless, after you defeat the Abyss Watchers and Deacons of the Deep, you'll eventually come across the catacombs and find Anri sulking in a corner. Just, what is it, Anri?
Oh, hello. How very fortunate. Have you seen my companion, Horace? To my shame, I was snared by a trap and we've become separated. I've not been able to find him since.
At this point, you would have no idea where Horace is, and the only thing you can say is no.
Yes, I see. Horace is a valiant knight. He can look after himself, no question. He's probably searching for me right now, with twice the resolve. If you happen upon him, please tell him that I remained in the catacombs, and I will lay prism stones to guide him, as always. Please send him word, I beg of you. May the flames guide your way.
He makes mention of the prism stones, and whenever you do see one of these glowing things, it means Anri was there. No, not because there was a PvP fight club going on, no. Here's the female variation.
Oh, hello. How very fortunate. Have you seen my companion, Horace? To my shame, I was snared by a trap and we've become separated. I've not been able to find him since. Horace is a valiant knight. He can look after himself, no question. He's probably searching for me right now, with twice the resolve. If you happen upon him, please tell him that I remain in the catacombs and will lay prism stones to guide him, as always.
Did you know you're engaged to me?
Please send him my word. I beg of you. May the flames guide your way.
Later, you will discover Anri near the end of the catacombs, still sulking and unable to find Horace.
Oh, hello. We meet again. Have you seen Horace anywhere?
Isn't that him in the pit below us?
Oh, yes. I see.
Obviously you don't.
I've searched high and low, with no luck. Perhaps he's left the catacombs.
Not low enough, apparently.
Oh, Horace. Where have you run off to?
God, come on, Anri. If you had binoculars, it'd be really easy to spot Horace down in that murky pit just standing there between two corpses. Well, I sense something ominous about him. Hell, you don't even need binoculars to see him, Anri. Seriously. Are you blind? Well, technically, it'd be nearsighted. Here's a little test for you. Okay, Anri, how many fingers am I holding up? Anri! Anri? Well, don't tell me he's hard of hearing, too. But then again, I am talking to an NPC. I should be questioning my own sanity. The answer is 1. Just 1. Oh, I bet you can see it now, can't you?
Oh, Horace. Where have you run off to? Have you abandoned me? No. What a horrible thought.
And here's the female dialogue.
Ah, hello. We meet again.
Oh, hello, dear.
Have you seen Horace anywhere?
No.
Oh, yes, I see.
He probably abandoned you.
I've searched high and low with no luck. Perhaps he's left the catacombs.
Yeah, maybe.
Oh, Horace, where have you run off to? Have you abandoned me?
I sure hope so.
No.
You're my fiancé.
What a horrible thought.
If you break the bridge and climb down, it opens up a whole new area called Smouldering Lake. Ash Lake? Smouldering Lake. You'll find Horace in a cave, but he'll attack you on sight. You can assume his hollowing finally drove him to madness, and unfortunately, there's no way to save him, resulting in nothing but sadness. There's a questline branch here. After discovering Horace, you can immediately leave and go tell Anri where Horace was, but the consequences could be dire.
Goodness me. To think there'd be a lake so deep within these catacombs. What a relief. I knew that Horace was alive and wouldn't stray far. Thank you. We are both in your debt. This hardly expresses my gratitude, but it'll have to do for now. Please, take it, and may the flames guide your way.
I'll go over this ring a little later.
I will soon head to the lake. Thank you. We are both in your debt. May the flames guide your way.
And here's the female variation.
Goodness me. To think there'd be a lake so deep within these catacombs. What a relief. I knew that Horace was alive and wouldn't stray far. Thank you. We are both in your debt. This hardly expresses my gratitude, but it'll have to do for now. Please take it, and may the flames guide your way. I will soon head to the lake. Thank you. We are both in your debt. May the flames guide your way.
Now, will Anri be able to deal with Horace's madness gracefully? Will Anri be able to engage him in battle and win? After defeating Lord Wolner and heading back to where Horace was, you'll find out. Sad fate, really. Anri was slain by the person he or she trusted more than anyone, but Hollows are known to eventually go mad and turn on their comrades. Instead, back up to where we originally found Horace. You can take him on and kill him yourself, though he can really rock that axe despite his awful fat roll. If you go tell Anri where he was, beat Lord Wolnir, and head to where you killed Horace, you'll see Anri found Horace's axe and shield and put them up on a rock with a prism stone. In the impossible scenario, he may return. You can also just not tell Anri about Horace. That's a valid option too, and adds additional dialogue here on out. The next time you will see Anri is in Irithyll, chilling against a wall at the Yorkshire Shrine.
Oh, I thought it might be you. Good to see you. I never managed to find Horace, but my duty must be done, even alone, as an unkindled Lord Seeker. For the children I knew, bless their souls. We all have our reasons, don't we?
And the female counterpart says the exact same thing, as always, but it's good to be thorough.
Oh, I thought it might be you. Good to see you. I never managed to find Horace, but my duty must be done, even alone, as an unkindled Lord Seeker. For the children I knew, bless their souls. We all have our reasons, don't we?
Perhaps Aldrich had consumed children at one point in time, especially people that Anri knew. Aldrich was known to devour men, otherwise known as people, and because of this, made a lord. I mean, if you had this many people worshipping you out of fear, you can call yourself a lord too.
Let's take Aldrich for one. A right and proper cleric. Only he developed a habit of devouring men. He ate so many that he bloated like a drowned pig, then softened into sludge. So they stuck him in the Cathedral of the Deep, and they made him a Lord of Cinder, not for virtue, but for might.
He consumed so many people he turned into what we see here in the intro cinematic. Something not short of a pig intestine filled with rotting flesh and bones. If you didn't confront Anri about Horace in the catacombs, you will get some extra dialogue here as well as this ring.
Please, take this. Recompense for my foolish request. And also a token of protection. May the flames guide your way.
Please, take this. Recompense for my foolish request.
I also got a ring.
And also a token of protection.
My dog ate it.
May the flames guide your way.
Then Anri will go on to say,
You are brave indeed, to face your duty alone. I would do well to learn from you.
You are brave indeed.
Thanks.
To face your duty alone.
For better or worse, as they say.
I would do well to learn from you.
Anri is not that brave, and has presumably died a countless number of times getting to where he or she is now. There is another questline branch here. There is someone using a chameleon spell in the corner of the room. You can easily spot this person by using a spell buff. The buff showing on the statue is an obvious indicator someone is hiding there. You can expose the illusion by attacking just to find that it's a pilgrim all along.
Whatever for? Oh my, you are. But I'm afraid we require more time. As long as it takes a dark droplet to fall, that is all. Our gracious Lord.
Despite the cryptic dialogue, you can assume this is the friend of Yuria's that is guiding Anri. Like what Yoel did for you in giving you dark sigils and keeping the Halloween curse alive, you can assume this pilgrim was doing the same for Anri. It's likely Anri knows this pilgrim, but it's unlikely Anri knows she's following him. What other reason would she have to hide? It's good to note that Anri will not comment on the pilgrim after exposing or killing her. To see where this questline leads us first, we'll kill the pilgrim.
Lady Yuria.
Like Yoel, she also calls out the Lady Yuria in death, which makes it pretty clear that either Yuria has a lot of pilgrim friends that really like her from Londor, or she's actually a major figure in Londor's church. Food for thought. Yuria will never find out about what you did and will never comment on it. Also, you'll get the chameleon spell the pilgrim was using after her death. To better understand Anri's relationship with Horace, it's good to take a look at the description of his armor. It states that Horace is one of only 2 children to escape Aldrich's clutches. Now, all the motivation for Anri makes complete sense, as there is more than enough insinuation Anri is also one of those 2 children. Both Anri and Horace are looking to get revenge on Aldrich, who consumed people they knew and cared about in their childhood. I'd gather they were witness to this travesty, and trauma is not easily forgotten, especially in childhood. I mean, I saw Poltergeist when I was 5, and I'm still not over the clown scene. Not in the reboot. It just wasn't the same. Regardless, not knowing exactly what happened to Horace gives Anri hope that he may return, and that hope is what keeps Anri going. To get more information out of Anri, let's go back and kill them to see what they say.
What's happened to you? Please, stop this. You've gone hollow, have you? Then I shall put you to rest. Horace, join me.
Please stop this! What's happened to you? You've gone hollow, have you? Then I shall put you to rest. Horace, join me.
Killing Anri first will result in a caring statement to Horace in passing.
Forgive me, Horace. It pains me to leave you.
Forgive me, Horace. It pains me to leave you.
If you kill Horace before Anri, Anri will simply collapse to his or her knees in frustration, refusing to fight further. This will also occur when you summon them for boss battles. This action isn't completely unfounded considering their inseparable friendship.
Oh, Horace. Why? Don't leave me. Not you. Not like the others. Oh, Horace. Horace.
Oh, Horace, why? Don't leave me. Not you. Not like the others. Oh, Horace. Horace.
As we've gathered from deciphering the lore, it's apparent Anri is talking about the children who died at the hands of Aldrich. At this point, you could very well leave Anri alive out of pity, or give death.
Oh, Horace. Everyone. Forgive me. I was weak on my own.
Oh, Horace. Everyone. Forgive me.
There goes my wedding plans.
I was weak on my own.
But if you leave Anri alive, he or she will continue to lament in the same position you killed Horace in for the rest of the entire game. All of Anri's summon signs will disappear henceforth and the questline will fail. Anri outright gives up, like a coward. If you kill Anri at any point, Yuria will disappear from the Firelink Shrine without another word. But for the sake of seeing Anri's good ending, we'll not. Anri losing Horace left him or her feeling abandoned and alone as the sole survivor of the other children who were consumed by Aldrich. And it's like a major backpedal from a lifelong uphill struggle through lordship oppression, dude. Horace was by Anri's side since childhood, so you can understand the extreme grief he or she feels. On top of all that, Anri just isn't brave enough to exact revenge without him. You will be able to summon Anri for the Pontiff Sullivan boss fight. It leads to his or her destination to Anor Londo, where Aldrich now resides. Once you make your way there, in front of the giant doors, you'll see Anri's summon sign with a prism stone right next to it. It seems the prism stone was left for Horace in the case he might wander by and see it, but that won't happen. Since Horace is missing or dead in Smouldering Lake, Anri needs all the help he or she can get to finally exact revenge. And you are more than welcome. Here's an interesting detail. If Anri is a male, the summon sign will be on the left. If Anri is a female, the summon sign will be on the right. So, it seems Anri finally made his or her way to Aldrich and needs help. When you arrive, it's no surprise to Anri, but you'll be thrown into a battle against Aldrich.
I thought it might be you. No, this only bolsters my resolve. Please, lend me your strength. Help me vanquish Aldrich, the man
I thought it might be you. Then I'm afraid, Horace. This only bolsters my resolve. Please, lend me your strength.
good to mention that if you never told Anri about Horace, Anri will just now come to the realization that Horace is gone.
Then I'm afraid Horace.
Now, let's take a closer look at Aldrich, the devourer of men, or in this case, the devourer of gods. What's suddenly changed? And why does he look so familiar? With a feminine beauty. Not only am I questioning my sexuality and getting turned on by this putrid yet immaculate spectacle, but I'm getting Dark Sun Gwendolyn vibes and Gravelord Nito vibes as well. This is such a strange combination of two completely opposite characters, and I love it! Though there is no direct correlation between Aldrich and Gravelord Nito because Nito was canonically slain to link the First Flame in the first game, some inspiration for Aldrich was certainly taken from Nito and Gwendolyn in his design, choice of weapons, and theme. 1. You can see the skeletons of the people he devoured bulging out of him, as well as Gwendolyn's upper form. 2. He uses both Nito's Gravelord Scythe and Gwendolyn's similar spells. And 3. The music sounds like a perfect mashup of the Nito boss fight theme, and the Gwendolyn boss fight theme. Put those two together and you'd get something that sounds like this, Aldrich's theme. Upon encountering Aldrich for the first time, you'd assume he looked like some formless mass as seen in the opening, but instead you come across this combination of the two past bosses. Nito, and the other of which, Gwendolyn, who as we know from the first Dark Souls is a son of Gwyn, raised as a girl with an affinity to the moon and illusions. This god resided here to protect it, and was presumably successful for a very long time while Irithyll was built up around it by Aldrich's faithful, considering it's the one thing in this world that still stands despite the completely decimated walls that used to surround this place. This is because I believe Anor Londo was protected in a world of illusion through Gwendolyn's power, judging from the out-of-place snow, an illusory phenomenon similar to the Aurora Borealis. By the way, this is where the Boreal Valley gets its name. Besides, this area's location is confusingly right on top of where the Farron Swamp was. But the decimated walls of Anor Londo surrounding Farron Swamp is not present in Irithyll. But you also got to take a look at most of the religions of this game, stretching from the Cathedral of the Deep to Irithyll. These religions were all developed behind a mutual fear of Aldrich. They brought sacrifices to him. Some may have even offered themselves as lambs to him, and others presumably tried consuming men to become closer to him.
The Dark Moon Knights were once led by the Dark Sun Gwendolyn, but he was stricken by illness.
Due to the fading fire, Gwendolyn grew ill, and gods such as him started losing their reign, similar to the events that transpired aeons before the first game that resulted in Gwyn sacrificing himself.
And this is exactly what happened.
Sullivan wrongfully proclaimed himself pontiff.
Sullivan labeled himself a pontiff and caged the ill Gwendolyn. Pontiff Sullivan fed Gwendolyn to Aldrich as a sacrifice, and unfortunately, by the time you get to Aldrich, he had already consumed him. We can assume this is the first and only god he had consumed, despite the plural in his name, and didn't know it would transform him. His very soul states that he saw the fading fire as an opportunity to bring out the age of the deep sea. Which is funny because the Japanese translation of his name is Eldritch, which corresponds to H.P. Lovecraft, and Lovecraft's work is synonymous with the deep sea. I don't think this is a coincidence. Regardless, he sought to devour gods, as this was the only way he knew how to bring out the age he envisioned. After defeating Aldrich, Anri will thank you.
I owe this to you. Thank you. Truly. Horace, we've done it. We really have.
I owe this to you. Thank you. Truly. Horace, we've done it. We really have.
You know, we never had a chance to get married, but I am happy for you. That's all that matters, your happiness. And it saddens me to say, this is the last time I'll ever see you. We can assume Anri made it out alive, as Anri's sword was left with Ludleth as thanks to give to you.
Knowst thou the name Anri of Astora? The brave lad left this as thanks. though gave no elucidation.
And as a dude, he says,
the brave girl left this as thanks.
And as an afterthought,
now, heed this little warning from this little lord. Seek not the boy.
Or,
seek not the girl.
Now there is a glitch here when playing as a female character where Ludleth refers to Anri as a girl, even after calling him a boy previously.
She knoweth her fate, what will become of her upon her duty's end. She would not wish thee follow her.
Confusion aside, that last line makes it very clear that if you built any romantic attachment to him or her, just forget about it. Especially because if you do end up seeking Anri out, it won't be a happy ending. Just when I start feeling like there's some light at the end of the tunnel for anyone in Dark Souls, I'm quickly reminded that there are no happy endings. You actually do see Anri again after defeating Aldrich, but it's not this great big reunion you were up all night fantasizing about. When seeing Anri off in the distance, you'd likely be ecstatic at first, ready to sit down with some Estus soup and catch up on all the crazy shit you've all been through. Rather, Anri is remarkably hollow, succumbing to the same fate as Horace. So now I'm renaming this quest from Anri's happy ending to Anri's terrible hollow madness sadness ending, because there's no happiness in being a mindless zombie. The Dark Sign mentions that carriers of the Dark Sign, which all unkindled have, causes one to lose their minds after countless deaths, and wander from their homelands, which may be why if you told Anri about Horace, he or she will be at the shrine made out for him in the cave of Smouldering Lake. And it's really sad. If there is some cognitive function in that mind of Anri's, you can assume he or she is longingly waiting for Horace to return. Now if you didn't tell Anri about Horace, he or she will be spacing out at some tombstones leading to the Cathedral of the Deep, perhaps lamenting the children he or she knew. Anri doesn't even speak or recognize you. He or she just starts lashing out at you with a broken sword that does more damage than you think. Whoa, hey, come on Anri, we could talk about this. Oh, come on, please, stop chasing me. Stop chasing me! I don't get it. Hollows are too far gone to heal with Estus, but they're perfectly capable of using weapon buffs. See? That's what you get. No one crosses me. This is all too similar to what happens when you revisit the Knight Oscar in the first game. At this point, we can at least learn more about Anri and his or her homeland, Astora, through item descriptions. First, let's take a look at the ring given you by Anri. A foul creature ravaged Astora and was captured into a ring. It nearly destroyed Astora, but was defeated by the sword of one most noble. And by mere coincidence, Anri is using that person's very sword. This also tells a lot about Anri, that Anri relied not on strength or dexterity, but on luck, as that sword scales based on that attribute. What happened to Astora with the creature has caused it to eventually fall and is now known only by name. And this description also makes it pretty apparent this may be how Anri stumbled upon the sword when revisiting his or her homeland. Now let's reverse time, head back to the Church of Yorshka, leave the pilgrim alive, and just, you know, hope for the best. See how it all goes. You can return to the Firelink Shrine and speak with Yuria for some good tidings.
Ah, greetings, our lord and liege. Good tidings. Thy spouse is ready. The time is ripe to greet him. The boy awaits thee in the hidden dark moon chamber of Anor Londo.
And if Anri is a female,
the time is ripe to greet her. The girl awaits thee in the hidden dark moon chamber of Anor Londo, so thou mayst a true monarch become.
The wedding date is now set in stone and marriage to Anri is imminent. This cannot possibly lead to an unhappy ending. No way! Anri is very charming and is developed in such a way that you want to like him or her. Both male and female variations are noble blue sentinels from the respected and ancient land of Astora, strong, caring, and share a lot in common with you. In fact, it is written so that it seems fate plays a role in it as well. You both are taking the same paths, bump into each other frequently, and help each other out on many occasions. If I didn't know any better, I'd think From Software was trying to get us to really like Anri. But not just like, I mean fall for Anri. An Anri waifu or husbando? Oh, let me ask, did it work for you? Once you reach Anor Londo, the illusory statue of Gwyn will no longer be present. You'll speak to the pilgrim at the entrance of the Dark Moon Tomb, where you initially encountered Dark Sun Gwendolyn in the first game. All matter of dialogue is very cryptic.
Welcome, our gracious lord. Your spouse awaits you. You are very near. Please, Take the sword of avowal. May you be the truest lord of Londor yet.
You'll get the Sword of Avowal, describing that the rite of wedlock will presage, and that word is generally used in the context of something foreboding, presage a true hollow lord. This isn't sounding very good.
Your spouse awaits you. You are very near. May you be the truest lord of Londor yet.
Upon entering the tomb, excited for an epic wedding between two like-minded individuals in the proceeding grandeur honeymoon in the Bahamas, you'll notice a very ominous atmosphere. Further in, and you'll find Anri has been slain, helmet removed, and face covered with leaves all over the place. The game builds you up to like Anri a lot, then kills him, her, or turns him or her mad? Isn't that great? And what the hell is this? This is no wedding at all. Looks more like a funeral to me. Instead of what you would expect from a traditional wedding, instead you lovingly press that sword deep into Anri's brain, likely not even knowing what it is you're doing. I know Anri's an undead, but shoving a stake into his or her brain would kill Anri for good, right? I still don't know how this all works. You know, I'm still learning. Regardless, from this
fatality,
you gain 3 more dark sigils from his or her sacrifice, presumably harnessing Anri's in order to grow more as a hollow, making it clear that the more dark sigils you have, the more powerful as a hollow, assuming you don't die too much and turn mad. You have proven yourself worthy by getting this far, defeating all the lords that oppose their rightful thrones, despite the accursed hollowing, and have proven you are apt and fully willing to blindly partake in this now reinvigorated covenant or cult of some sort, nearing fruition of whatever it is. This rather non-traditional marriage here has more meaning than you may think. You clearly discover you are not marrying Anri at all, but instead you are literally being married to Anri, the definition of when 2 objects become absorbed into one, hence why you only gain his or her remaining dark sigils out of the ceremony and nothing other than Yuria's exaltation. You done gone and made her proud! Even the Sword of Avowal is shaped like that of the letter O. Avowal, a circular pattern representing death, similar to the dark sign or dark sigils. Take the moon, for example. The shape itself is circular, but the word itself has 2 O's in it. The moon has been scientifically proven to affect the tides, creating tsunamis, which kill many people. And it has been conspired that dwelling inside its hollow caverns are evil reptilian beings conspiring to wipe out humanity and dominate the earth. When you leave the tomb, you will find the pilgrim that was helping Anri has passed away during the ceremony. Jeez, only one person attends my marriage, couldn't even have the decency to watch, and dies in the middle of it. If you aggro Yuria anytime up until the marriage, she will say,
"Where are thy wits? Cease this at once." Yoel knows not of thy folly. A hollow need not be mad. No one so weak shall ever rule us.
Wow, she makes you feel pretty awful and brushes you off as a mad hollow. But as the Purging Stone states, hollows are known to turn on their allies, and we have seen this a few times in this quest with Horace and Anri, so this is something she should be used to by now. If you die, she gets cut off, though I'm sure it was something very degrading.
Peasant, at least thy cadaver shall a little kindle.
The subtitles give it away though. If you kill her, she makes a breakthrough exposition. One name that blows open her entire plot.
Kaathe, I have failed thee.
Kaathe, the primordial serpent. If you have followed the story of Dark Souls 1, you'll know exactly whose legacy she aims to carry and what her true intentions are. Instead of making her hostile or killing her, talk to Yuria and she will delve a little deeper into her, how should I put it, revolutionary intentions.
Our lord and rightful liege. Speak freely, thy lordship. I am at thy beck and call. I presume thy holy vows are sworn? Wonderful. Now thou art the true and deserving Lord of Hollows. With the spouse, the strength to claim the fire is thine. Thy lordship, I prithee wrest the fire from its mantle. I, Yuria, and all Londor embrace thy impending lordship. I prithee, play the usurper. When the moment cometh to link the fire, wrest it from its mantle.
The Age of Fire was founded by the old gods, sustained by the linking of the fire. But the gods are no more, and the all-powerful fire deserveth a new heir. Our Lord of Hollows, it shall be, who weareth the true face of mankind. Be safe, our Lord and Liege. I prithee wrest the flame from its mantle.
She wishes for you to embody the flame, to stop this continuous cycle of gods and heirs in order to place a true hollow human lord on the throne to embrace the coming of an Age of Hollows. Just like in the first Dark Souls with Kaathe, the primordial serpent, Yuria wants to end the Age of Fire and bring about the Age of Dark to embrace the accursed undead and banish all the heavenly lords' reign. But it's not really an Age of Dark because you're embodying the flame, rather than plain snuffing it out like Smokey the Bear taught us to do. So to not get confused, we'll call this the Age of Hollows. Her attire says that she is the middle child of 3 sisters, one of 3 sisters being Lillian. Those 3 sisters were founders of the Sable Church of Londor. Now, if you try to kill Yuria after the marriage, she will not aggro or fight back.
Your Lordship, what is the matter? Please, stop.
Upon killing her, she says,
Usurper, I beseech thee, claim the fire.
Her ashes description suggests that her 2 sisters could take over for her to make certain Kaathe claims the flame for the sake of all hollows, ending the Age of Gods. When you get to the end of the game and prepare to defeat the Soul of Cinder protecting the flame, you'll see you can summon Yuria and her other Londor friend for help. While her friend isn't much help at all, she certainly is. After you beat the Soul of Cinder and touch the bonfire, this is the ending you'll get. As you can see, no primordial serpents are present this time around, but instead you see Yuria's 2 sisters, Lillian and Name Unknown. And what's this? Could this be Anri bowing to you? Hard to say, and it's kinda blurry. Hollows can't die, but I thought a stake to the brain would finish him or her off for good. It works in the dead walking. You also see what could very well be a bunch of hollows, and they probably are.
Gracious Lord, make Londor whole.
As we know, humans are the descendants of the so-called Pygmies. In case you didn't know, these little-known entities, only mentioned once in the intro cinematic of the first game, rose from the dark and found souls of lords within the flame.
Then, from the dark, they came and found the souls of lords within the flame.
By definition, the name Pygmy means a race of short people. They are all essentially the ancestors of humankind. A Furtive Pygmy found the Dark Soul and divided it to give life to the human race.
And the Furtive Pygmy, so easily forgotten.
Furtive is generally used for when someone is hiding in nervousness or from guilt. What guilt could that be? The only explanation is that they are all furtive, that these pygmies found the souls of lords within the flame and unleashed the gods in the preceding Age of Fire, leaving them powerless and subjugated.
Thus began the Age of Fire.
They were just born, so give them a break. babies make mistakes too. Sadly, these guys have had a long time to think about it. Sided with the primordial serpents, who were also born from the dark, and when things fell through the first chance they had, resided in Londor until Yuria and her two sisters could find a hollow lord. In short, no pun intended. Wait, actually, now that I think about it, yeah, pun intended. In short, the Pygmies are trying to right their wrongs and redeem themselves by creating an age in which they were born out of. An age of humanity.
After the advent of fire, the ancient lords found the three souls, but your progenitor found a fourth, unique soul, the dark soul.
Which sounds good on the surface, but the accursed dark sign would remain, and the age would technically be preserving the undead. Zombies! Now, when taking a closer look at the pilgrims, you can see they are hiding their entire body, weighed down by baggage and shackles, symbolizing a deep burden. They're something almost furtive in nature, yet forced out of hiding to carry out their task. The task to manipulate some unknowing champion of Ash to become their redemption. What if these oddities are the original Pygmies? That would explain their ripe old age, dress wear, and motivation. Another question I pose thee. What if the Dark Sigils are remnants of the original Dark Soul? These speculations, if true, could explain a lot. It could explain why they're dying off as the flame fades. It could explain why they have Dark Sigils. In the first game, you have two primordial serpents that are trying to tug you one way or the other, but there are many of these and they all side with Kaathe.
I am the primordial serpent, Darkstalker Kaathe. I am the primordial serpent, King Seeker Frampt, close friend of the great Lord Gwyn. But the other serpent, Frampt, lost his sense and befriended Lord Gwyn.
Frampt, in complete betrayal, sided with Lord Gwyn and shows up at the Firelink Shrine to persuade you to link the flame and continue the current age, and is a giant ugly goofball.
No, I'm fine. Well and wide awake. Do not treat me like an old withering snake.
Meanwhile, Kaathe creepily pops up with his nightmare-inducing face in the scariest place possible.
I am your guardian.
Yet manages to make a compelling argument not to, and to not trust Frampt, but instead walk away. Kaathe really needs work on his presentation. Am I really supposed to trust a creepy human-faced snake that rises out of an abyss over one that cheerfully appears in a safe haven for me? I'm sure the locations in which they appear was no accident, as who you choose to believe is all dependent on the atmosphere.
I wish to elucidate your fate, and the very reason your kind have appeared. I can guide thee and illuminate the truth. The truth I shall share without sentiment. Chosen undead, your fate is to succeed the great Lord Gwyn, so that you may link the fire, cast away the dark, and undo the curse of the undead. Only I know the truth about your fate. You must destroy the fading Lord Gwyn, who has coddled fire and resisted nature, and become the fourth Lord, so that you may usher in an age of dark.
Frampt makes no effort of explaining details and only tells you that your fate is to succeed Gwyn, while Kaathe elaborates in full detail, but I'm sure he's leaving out any undesirable information. Frampt also says that linking the flame will undo the curse of the undead, but we now know that's untrue.
Your ancestor claimed the dark soul and waited for fire to subside, and soon the flames did fade, and only dark remained. Thus began the Age of Men, the Age of Dark. However, Lord Gwyn trembled at the dark, clinging to his Age of Fire and in dire fear of humans, and the Dark Lord who would one day be born amongst them. Lord Gwyn resisted the course of nature by sacrificing himself to link the fire and commanding his children to shepherd the humans. Gwyn has blurred your past to prevent the birth of the Dark Lord. I am the primordial serpent.
While it appears Kaathe is telling you the truth with his wealth of information, The fact is, there is no truth. There are just sides. It's just a choice of which side to side with. But that conflicting feeling brought about by these two serpents makes you feel like there is a right or wrong answer. But it's just a side. No right or wrong answer. We can assume when you walk away in the Age of Hollows ending in the first game, you are doing the exact same thing in this game and consuming the flame to preserve humanity. But in reality, the undead, ending the Age of Fire and relinquishing the gods from their power over humans. In Dark Souls 3, we know through in-game evidence that the canonical ending was linking the first flame because, well, the flame is still burning, albeit dimly, and why would it still be burning if the flame was never lit in the first game? The Soul of Cinder boss fight has been expressed to be an accumulation of the old gods of Lordran who originally linked the flame in the first game.
Let her grant death to the old gods of Lordran, deliverers of the first flame.
Why else during the Soul of Cinder boss fight would you get the eye-watering chords of weeping sadness from the battle with Lord Gwyn? Oh god, I can't take it. It's so beautiful and nostalgic. The Soul of the Lords implies that the flame has been lit ever since, and now the Soul of Cinder has vowed to protect that flame. If the Age of Dark really did happen, then the gods would have no power, yet there is evidence the gods do have at least some fading power as the flame itself fades. There is a mass tomb of firekeepers beneath the bell of the shrine. When a firekeeper has served her purpose, she dies. Though what purpose would that be? To lead a champion, to eventually rekindle the flame. Judging by how many dead firekeepers there are here, there must have been many other champions to come before you to keep that flame lit. That means the very firekeeper that serves you will also die once her duty is done, and her very replacement is Irina. If you complete her quest, she will become a firekeeper, and wait until you and your firekeeper's duties are complete, then take over the shrine to await new champions once the bell tolls again. It's a continuous cycle, unless one would choose to betray that cycle. The death of the firekeeper is expressed as true darkness. So wouldn't that mean snuffing out the flame and creating an age of darkness would be something close to the death of the world? Dark Souls 3 wouldn't possibly have so many direct connections to Lordran if that were true. Lothric is a place where all the lands of all the Lords of Cinder are converging together, temporarily, coming together around the first flame as it fades.
Where the transitory lands of the Lords of Cinder converge.
The world is closing in on becoming unformed once again, as the world was before light and dark, life and death, and heat and cold, and you know the rest. Until, bam! A champion or lord comes along to rekindle the flame, allowing the world to reset back to the way it was. No matter how much you want to confirm your bias, there hasn't been an Age of Dark, or Hollows. That means the flame has remained burning at varying degrees since your sacrifice in the first game, otherwise the Hollows, Pygmies, or Serpents would have already gotten their way.
This is unacceptable, impossible, unthinkable. Oh, enough with you.
There also seems to be this new theme. As we see time and time again, the flame can be swayed to reflect that of an age of your own choice, depending on how you sway the flame. This wasn't recognized in the first game because the world was still newly formed. As such, the only options people knew were light or dark. As an unkindled Lord Seeker, you're expected to link the flame and continue the Age of Fire. But you can choose to betray that cycle and snuff out the fire to create an Age of Dark, which technically resets the world back to none. Nada. Null. You know? Resets it to await a new age to form. Aldrich wanted to create an Age of the Deep Sea. I don't know, perhaps he was a big Lovecraft fan? Maybe? Yuria, her church, and all the pilgrims of Londor wanted an Age of Hollows, an age embracing accursed humanity. And here's another thing to think about. If the Furtive Pygmy didn't unleash the souls of lords to begin with, then humanity wouldn't have prevailed. Sure, they'd be uncursed, but they'd lack the magic and brawn to take on the eternal dragons. So yes, indeed.
Yes, indeed.
They did the right thing to begin with. You'd think they owe something to the gods, right? The primordial serpents also rose from the dark, but it is unknown if they are still around in the timeline of this game. The only appearance we see of them, presumably Frampt, is commemorated in statues throughout Lothric Castle. My guess is that they are all still alive and are in hiding, and From Software is saving their appearances for upcoming DLC. Perhaps we even get to fight one. Wouldn't that be cool? It'd probably head bash and gnaw you to death, or kill you with ugly. Maybe we'll get to learn more about the pilgrims and Londor, I don't know. I'm not holding my breath, but in all honesty, and I'm sure I'm speaking for most of you too, would like to see Londor as one of the next 2 expansions. Well, that's all, folks. Thank you so much for watching or rewatching this entire video. It has been a long time in the making and quite frankly, I'm sick of it. Hopefully you gained a much better understanding of this game just through this Usurp the Fire ending questline. I'm ready to move on to other things. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss those other things. And if you like the other things that I do, my presentation and humor, become a patron like these people here. These guys made all this possible and more. I can't thank you all enough. Oh shucks, and if you aren't all that familiar with my other things, kindly be sure to watch whatever grabs your attention. There's plenty of good lore to sustain you into my next video and my eventual review and story explanation video. I must also credit the following YouTubers' videos that I slightly borrowed small little clips from. Also, I'm aware and I'm sorry for the redundancy in playing both Anri's male and female dialogue. I did get some complaints about that, but I did do it to be thorough, and it only amounted to an additional 5 minutes. I sat through loading screens longer than that, so you can deal. Thanks again for watching or rewatching or rewatching if you're cool. May the flames guide your way.